Hey everyone, welcome to this weekend Sidereal Astrology forecast. This is for November 15th, 16th, and 17th, 2019. All right, so very simple weekend, astrologically speaking. The most important thing is we are still coming off of that full moon energy from earlier in the week. So we are in what's called the disseminating phase, which makes it great for implementing any shifts of awareness that have happened since earlier in the week. Now on Friday, we have the moon shifting from grounded Taurus into practical Gemini. So the first part of the day, great for still, like Thursday was, getting in touch with our inner and outer resources. But as the day unfolds, great for developing the side of ourselves that wants to learn, our curiosity, our willingness to exchange and communicate, this type of practical energy. That'll be the theme all of Saturday as well. And then the first part of Sunday, and then the later part of Sunday, we do have the moon going into protective Cancer. So that'll place a theme more on the emotional realms and creating a protective environment for ourselves and others. All right, so let's take a look at all of this as well as some of the minor lunar aspects here in more detail when we return. All right, so here is the sky for this weekend. We're going to look at this for all 3 days, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, starting first with the moon going into Gemini on Friday, then in Gemini all day on Saturday, and then shifting into Cancer for the later part of Sunday. So again, we are using the actual size of the constellations called True Sidereal Astrology. If you are new to the channel, definitely check out that link down below for more information because the signs are different from mainstream astrology. All right, so let's take a look here. First at the moon's placement. As you can see here this weekend, no major aspects going exact. Kind of a quiet weekend, you could say, astrologically speaking, especially with more of the stronger aspects that we've had earlier in the week during the full moon. But that is the most important thing, is that we are in the disseminating phase, which means it's great for implementing any shifts of awareness that may have happened earlier in the week. So the lunar energy is still quite high. The monthly energy is still quite high at the moment, but we're starting to likely notice that it's slowly starting to dissipate, starting to lower, and so it does make it good for prolonging things. Essentially, what can we do now to finalize and start to develop these things that did come to our awareness from earlier in the week? All right, so on Friday in particular, the first part will be much like Thursday, where the theme will be around our resourcefulness, collectively speaking. Great for connecting to our inner self-reliance, developing our self-value, and connecting to our external resources as well, like nature, a good meal, relaxation, this kind of earthy energy, really good. The moon will be passing over the arm of Orion, which is the very physical part of the human experience. So it does make it really good for, again, that more physical side, but starting to get into the practical side of Gemini. The later part of Friday will be good for learning, communication, exchanging, communicating, anything that is about synergy and practicality in our life. So on Friday, we do have some oppositions with the moon. So on a very minor note, I think really this whole weekend has some opposition. So the theme could be around balance, just generally speaking. And I think that's important anyways, because of course we still do have the sun and Mercury retrograde here in balancing Libra. So the larger context of the monthly sense is still great for focusing on finding balance in our life. This could be in our relationships through mutuality and reciprocity. But all in all, just whatever it is that we can balance the scales with is really good to focus on at this time, and maybe even rethink and rework with some of that Mercury retrograde energy. And since we're on point here, Venus is in a fucus. So as a reminder, it is still great for connecting in our relationships in a way that maybe is deep or involving some healing or developing trust or getting into the deeper dimensions of our relationships. But all in all, just valuing and enjoying maybe some of this healing and transformative energy, which is quite strong at the moment because Venus is here, but also Jupiter is finishing a fucus, passing over that galactic center, really expanding that deeper energy for our awareness at this time. And of course, we do still have Mars in grounded Virgo, so still good for getting things done and getting into that practical, kind of pragmatic energy of Virgo, of what can be improved and refined in our life. In fact, Mercury gets kind of close to Virgo before he goes direct next week. All right, so with those placements though, on Friday, a good day for just like the larger context around balance, but in this case, maybe balancing some Jupiter energy with the moon opposite Jupiter. The first part, maybe balancing some of that earth energy of Taurus, that resourcefulness, with some of that deeper energy of a fucus, right? We can't have good physical life without a good understanding of our deeper values, and we can't have a good deeper life and healing without being grounded and connected to nature. So that's just generally a good way of working with the day. There could be maybe some confidence on a minor note with the moon trining Mars. Another thing I do want to mention about Friday is we are starting to ease up off of a bit of this maybe escaping kind of energy or watery energy or deeper energy we may have felt from the previous day on Thursday with the Venus square Neptune aspect, but that starts to dissipate as we go into Friday. All right, and then once we're in Saturday, in the later part of Friday, we do have the moon well set in that practical Gemini. So again, great middle part of the weekend for learning, getting into our curious side, and anything on that practical level. Essentially, Gemini is about flexibility. How can we be adaptive to new information, to learning, to exchanging with others, and especially with Mercury retrograde, just really good to be flexible at this time. So with this, we do have some oppositions. Again, the moon will be opposite Saturn and Pluto. So on Saturday, finding the balance between the practical of Gemini and the expansive of Sagittarius. We do have Saturn and Pluto still transiting the expansive energy of our beliefs, helping us build structures with our beliefs these surrounding years, helping us transform our beliefs, face some fears, maybe to expand our horizons, right, and get into that spirited energy, which tends to balance out some of that practical energy with Gemini. All right, and then once we get into Sunday, the moon will be shifting out of Gemini the later part of the day and into watery Cancer, which will take us into Monday. So later part of Sunday, great for creating essentially a protective environment for ourselves and others, and getting in touch with our feelings and creating that safe space so we can connect to the softer elements of life. All right, everyone, so that's the weekend in a nutshell. Most important thing, though, is it's a very simple weekend. We are in the disseminating phase of implementation from any shifts or shifts of awareness from earlier in the week. And there is this earthy energy around Friday, some practical energy with Gemini mid-weekend, and then the weekend finishes off with some of that water energy of that protective, sometimes caring and nurturing energy of Cancer. All right, so everyone have a fantastic weekend. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time for the daily forecast. Take care.